Hello everyone, welcome to the first live in my group, the Marketing and Sales Academy for Coaches for 2021. I am super excited to see you, and as you can see, I really dressed up for the occasion. I thought that since we didn't get the opportunity to spend New Year and wear all our glad rags and so on over the New Year, I thought that I would take the opportunity to do so for this live, which is, as I said, the very first one of the year. And as I was counting down the seconds like we do for New Year, one of the presents that I got it was a new sort of watch to monitor my steps and everything, and I can actually watch my heart rate, and I could see my heart rate climbing as it got closer and closer to hitting the button at 4 o'clock South African time and going live. Lovely to see you, Christian. I hope that you had a good move to the UK and that you're starting to all settle in happily to your new home. And I wish you everything of the best and every success. I can see there are also 4 more people who are watching, so just pop a comment in the comment section if you're watching so that I can see who you are, or otherwise give me some likes or some hearts so that I can pick you up. It's really lovely to have you here, and I'm really excited to share this information with you, because I think that it's incredibly important that we start the year off a little bit more aware. Elsie says Happy New Year. Thank you, Elsie, and to you as well, and thank you for joining us. It's wonderful to see you. So I really think it's important that we start the year off kind of being aware of what the landscape is going to be looking like. And there are some funny, thank you so much, Elsie. It's actually just a top. And one of the things that I was going to talk about was how one of the strangest effects or impacts of the coronavirus and all of us living online to such a great extent and having all of these online networking sessions and Zoom meetings and so on, is that the clothing designers have actually turned their attention and their intellectual capital towards creating more exciting and interesting upper body lines, because we're not seeing people's bottoms. And you will know now, after having been in lockdown for a year, and I just want to say hello to Sharon Ann, who is also joining us. Welcome and Happy New Year to you. You'll know from having been in lockdown for a year now that there's that legend about people who work from home, and the tops are beautifully dressed, but the bottoms are pajama bottoms and slippers. And so yes, I admit underneath all of this I have a pair of leggings on because it is exceptionally hot in Johannesburg today. So let's get on to the subject at hand, which is the impact of what is going on in the world now and the coronavirus on the coaching industry and the trends that I predict for 2021. Now, I did do a video on the future of coaching back in April last year, and I'm going to kind of just pick up on the 3 trends that I predicted at that stage, because I think we have seen them come to life. I think we've actually, some of those trends are very much a part of our new normal. And as much as I dislike using that phrase, new normal, but something that we all took for granted was only going to be a temporary blip on the screen, is actually turning into something that is a lot longer. Alison's just joined. Yes, it's lovely, isn't it? I love it. Thank you. guess who's been shopping online. So one of the things that, oh gosh, somebody's trying to get hold of me. I've got a delivery coming from one of the local grocery stores, so excuse that. But as I was saying, what we thought was just going to be like a temporary blip, and we would quickly kind of hunker down in our homes for a brief period while we got everything under control, has turned into something a lot more serious. And people that I have been speaking to quite widely, and my cousin is a medical professor. I've spoken about her fairly often. She is with the South African Health Professions Council, but she also owns her own clinical drug trial laboratory, and still trying to get hold of me. And they are kind of saying that we are going to still be dealing with the effects of the coronavirus on our health and society up to 2024. So get your minds around the fact that it is going to be with us at the very least until 2024. The airlines are also kind of looking at 2024 in terms of their strategic plans. A lot of the large corporate clients, when they're doing their strategic planning now, 2024 is kind of the year that is being earmarked as being the year that we will emerge into something. We don't quite know what yet, because we know that we are never quite going to go back to what we had before. The world is never quite going to be the same. And this virus is having a massive economic impact, and that is impacting us in two ways. Firstly, we know, and I'm going to talk about this in more detail just now, but we know that companies are downsizing in a big way. Secondly, more and more people are having to work from home and working from home, and companies are re-looking at the way that they structure the workplace. And that means for us as coaches, we need to be responsive to what our clients are, how our clients' working environments are changing. As coaches, most of us are used to working from home. We're used to working out of a home office, getting in our cars and maybe going through to the offices of our clients and having our coaching sessions there. That's not happening anymore because our clients no longer have those offices and no longer have that office space. So as coaches, we really need to be able to adapt the way that we work with our clients and listen ever more carefully to the kinds of issues that our clients are having in their own adapting to this new normal, this normal that is going to be our normal probably in perpetuity. The other way that it's impacting economically, obviously, that it's impacting all of us is in terms of our budgets. And I know that a lot of my colleagues have said to me, people who are working one-on-one with life coaching clients, have said to me that their one-on-one coaches, people who were paying for coaching out of their own pockets, have either stopped coming for coaching or are coming less often for coaching, so have reduced the number of coaching hours. So coaches perhaps aren't earning what they were earning a while ago. And there was one coach, I was horrified. This person is one of the most successful coaches that I know, was earning well over six figures, and their business has shrunk to 20% of what it was before Corona. But one of the main reasons is that this person was coaching in an industry that was immediately negatively impacted by the coronavirus. So by COVID and lockdown and regulations and things like that. So my advice to you is definitely, and I know I certainly have been taking note of industries that have been bulletproof isn't quite but COVID proof almost. So the pharmaceutical industries, the medical profession, essential services, plumbing. I thought there was something that I thought of just now. Even, looking at clients who are running companies that provide website services, because those are still they're probably doing better than they were before COVID hit us. So look at your client mix and make sure that you have a little bit more diversity, and make sure that you target, sorry, that's the delivery that I was expecting. Make sure that you target the kinds of industries and clients and the kinds of industries or companies that we have noticed and can see has been more COVID proof than other companies, even though everybody, I think, has been quite impacted. So now I'm going to ask you to do something. Who in the last year or couple of months has bought something online? Who has shopped online, done grocery shopping online, purchased, like me, a new upper wardrobe online? Who has, I have just signed up for the most amazing kind of networking, online networking group, where you get 2 coaching sessions every month, and there are networking sessions. There's a masterclass that they run every single month. It is Alison says she is guilty, Guilty. So we have all been shopping. Who signed up for courses? Who of you have done online courses? And even the fact that you are here today watching this video on trends in the coaching industry means that you are doing online learning, okay? Now, okay, Sharon says she bought Christmas presents online. There you go. You did all of your Christmas shopping online. So in fact, I've got a friend who's crazy about Halloween, and I found the most outrageous Halloween present for her. So I've already ordered that for her for Halloween. How's that for getting prepared? But it's cheaper now. We can really take advantage of the global economy, and less be less and less parochial in terms of how we shop, so that we can get economies of scale. Christian says she only does online at the moment. Well, there we go. I mean, online shopping is also a way of protecting ourselves from being infected and from being exposed to the virus. So it's almost like a necessity for those of us who have the ability to be able to do so. And I know that I'm speaking to the people who are privileged enough to be able to shop online, who've got credit cards, who've got data. Sisanda says she's done online courses. There we go. So all of us are investing money, and we are shopping online, and your clients are too. So that's where you've got to be, and you have to be online in a more prolific way than you ever were before. There were some stats that I came across towards the end of last year about how many times you needed to be posting on various social media platforms in order to be showing up in the feed. And I was flabbergasted that if you actually wanted to have any kind of presence on Twitter, you needed to be tweeting anything over 30 times a day, because otherwise there's just so much going on Twitter that you get lost amongst all the riffraff. Elsie, you've done online training and online shopping. So we all have moved into the online world out of necessity and also possibly out of a little bit Villy's name. Villy, it's lovely to see you. I hope you are well. I hope you did get to have a few really good bike rides over the new year, and I hope that your dog is well too. But yeah, all of us, every single one of us on this call today has been in one form or another spending money online and being online, and that means that your clients are there as well, your potential clients. So I urge you to commit to making sure that you show up prolifically, that you create, just as you would create your own fitness regimen that you want to stick to and commit to, which we normally are all doing at this time of year. You need to create a commitment and a regimen for getting online, because this is how your business is going to survive. Making yourself highly visible and making sure that you are showing up in all the places that your potential clients would be showing up. So joining online groups, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, and joining in the conversations. You don't need to start the conversations, but for goodness sake, join in and participate so that people start to get to know you. And you know that phrase, I'm going to trot it out again. If people get to know you, they start to get to like you, and they get to trust you. Once they start trusting from you, they buy from you. I can't tell you how many clients come to me just from these videos that I've been putting out over the last year, which was the biggest shift in terms of my online social media strategy in 2020. Yvette, lovely to see you. Happy New Year. And Yvette, she has delivered and attended online courses. So we really, have gone online. But just in the last year, the one biggest change that I have made in terms of my social media strategy was doing one video per week, every single week. And before I could actually wipe the sleep out of my eyes, I've now got over 80 videos that I've uploaded onto my YouTube channel that are all business assets, that are all my intellectual property that I can roll out and point people to and reutilize again and again in different forms. So this year my commitment is actually to do 2 videos a week, one in my group, so it's going to be more informative and more kind of carefully curated and researched, and then I'm going to be doing one on every Thursday on my Facebook page. Mostly they're going to be interviews and looking at different tools and things that we as coaches can use to support not just ourselves but also our clients. So all of us have bought something online one way or the other, so the trend is there. And in fact, I forget the figures, but I think it's by 2024 they're predicting that the online training industry is going to have and this is Forbes, I think, predicted this. The online training industry is going to have a value of something in the region of $400 billion US. It is by far the fastest growing industry right now. So if you're not part of it, if you are not somehow packaging your services and participating in the online training industry, I urge you to please put that on your horizon and use this year to start getting the skills, the tools, and the confidence, because confidence is just one of the biggest hurdles that I find when I work with my clients. In fact, in my 12-week course to accelerate your marketing and sales, the first module is on mindset, and I'm seriously thinking of extending that module to a little bit of a second module. Excuse me switching around on my chair, but just want to get myself a little bit comfortable. The other funny or amusing side effect of COVID and lockdown and the way that we've been leading our lives. And Christian, I'm sure that you will have something to say about this. Christian is a fitness instructor, and I have never seen anyone repurpose household items for a fitness regime like I have with Christian. She will go down in my books with your paper plates, just the cleverest things that I've ever seen. I just love it to bits. But statistically, I heard on the radio a few weeks ago that on average, and this is people who have obviously been quite ill-disciplined, but on average, most people have picked up something up to 10 kilograms during lockdown. How's that? So I do think that people who are in the weight loss, the fitness, the health, and related industries, I do think that this is a wonderful time for you, and a wonderful period during which you can really capitalize your business, get creative, get crazy, get like Christian, and just, show people how to manage on an ongoing basis without being able to get to the gym, how to keep their weight under control, how to take control of their weight if it's spiraled out of control. And going back to the point that I said earlier about diversifying your client base, look perhaps at diversifying into working with people who are in the fitness and health related industries, like fitness, diet and health related, because I think that they will never be without work. They might not always have as much work as they want, but now that we're starting to accept that lockdowns and being confined to our homes and not able to exercise like we are used to, now that we have accepted that this is going to go on for a lot longer, this is the time for people in those industries to really kind of take advantage. So in April last year, I did a video on 3 trends that I predicted in the coaching industry, and I'm just going to go over them again quickly, because and I started the video by saying, we are surrounded by a huge amount of negativity, and it's quite hard to keep our spirits up in the face of all this negative news that we're being bombarded with, not to mention the United States presidential elections, which were a comedy or a tragedy, whichever way, one way or the other. But we are bombarded. We are also at a stage now where most of us know more than one person who has either contracted coronavirus, died from coronavirus, and there are many of us here today, I know, who in this last year have lost family members. So it's we seem to be surrounded and going through almost like an apocalyptic kind of universal, there's just this energy in the air, and it is difficult to remain resilient in the face of us. In fact, Alison and I, towards the end of last year, did a Zoom interview, I think it was in this group, on the importance of resilience and how to build that resilience muscle and, make ourselves as flexible and adaptable as possible. But we also have an enormous duty of self-care, because many of us may be grieving for someone that we have lost, and the grieving process, the height of the grieving process takes up to 6 months, and if it continues at a very high pace thereafter, then it is likely that it has morphed into a full-blown depression and needs more than, you know, just something that coaches can offer. But we as coaches, being surrounded by all this negativity, have an enormous duty to self-care. And I said to my husband, you know, yesterday was my first official day back in the office, and I said it really, really hit me how important my meditation routine is to my ability to get through my day and to weather whatever is coming at me during the course of the day. So that's one of the things, is we need to be very, very mindful of ourselves and very gentle with ourselves at the moment, with everything that we're going through. I spoke about one of the big trends was going to be that we were going to all be shifting online, as this was in April last year. Well, that certainly happened. And with that, it meant that we would have to learn like a whole new way of reading our clients' body language, of interpreting body language, a whole new way for ourselves of coming across on an online basis, and also online netiquette, if you know, internet etiquette, if you like the term, because there are certain things that you do and don't do in the online world, and we've all seen those spoof videos of or the real videos of you know, the disastrous things that have happened to people when they haven't been aware that they've been in a Zoom meeting and they haven't switched off their camera, etc., etc. Sisanda is saying self-care and discipline are on the top of the list for me this year going forward. I think that is so wise and so right, and I'm going to go into it a little bit more. But going back to how we have all gone into the online world to this extent, it really does impact our body language and the way that we operate. And, you know, if you are working with clients and you're normally quite an active person, being confined to your seat the whole time can be quite... can have an impact physiologically and psychologically on you and the way that you operate. So look at moving your computer to on top of a tall chest of drawers, so that you can stand while you have a meeting with a client, so that you can, you know, just shift your body around and be a little bit more at ease, a little bit more active, a little bit more comfortable. Just look at other ways and other environments of, you know, that you can hold your meetings in. I also spoke in April about the economic effects of COVID-19, because at that time we were starting to see the first real wave of job losses. And in fact, my foster sister lost her job last year and has struggled to find re-employment. She's a chef, so she's in the catering industry. They're not essential services, even though I have said to her, look at trying to get into the kinds of caterers who provide catering for the hospitals, because at least those caterers, you know, are not shutting down and there is demand for their services. But with job losses, it means that more and more people are coming into the onto the job market, and a very easy thing is for them to decide to become a coach. The barrier to the entry to this industry is really, really low. In fact, you can start coaching without even having any kind of certification. You can do a 3-week online course, a 3-month online course, or something a lot more robust, but it is very, very easy to get into the coaching market. And that means that we as existing coaches need to leverage our experience and the length of time that we and our expertise from having been coaching for a much longer period of time, because we are now up against much greater competition. And the flip side of it is that because there have been so many job losses, there are fewer people in companies to be coached. Companies are all looking at their overheads, and one of the biggest overheads that they look at is firstly the staff numbers, but then they also look at their investment budgets in terms of training. And so we just get hit by a double whammy. There are fewer people to coach, and there's less money to be paid for the coaching. So coaching pricing is going to be coming under pressure. And we are going to be operating in a more and more competitive market. Officially the ICF, I think in their most recent study of the coaching market, said that they estimated that there were 71,000 proper coaches, like classically trained coaches in the market. But if you go onto places like LinkedIn and you just put in executive coach, leadership coach, business coach, or even just coach, they come up in the millions. So we really are in a hugely saturated market, and we have to firstly leverage the fact that we are experienced, that we have been around for longer than people who are just coming into the industry, which is not to knock people who are just coming into the industry, and that's not to say that they are going to be bad coaches or anything like that. But if we have been in the industry for a couple of years, I think that that is certainly something that we should be using as a bit of a selling point. So coming on to the trends that I've predicted for this year, and I know I am speaking incredibly fast, but I've got so much to say, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I spoke about job losses and a big influx of new coaches into the market, so greater competition in a diminishing market. If we look at our clients, a lot of the clients that we are dealing with have lost someone close to them, lost someone precious, are going through the grieving process, might be like shifting over into a depression, because this is a hard world to live in at the moment. And so as coaches, I've always said that one of the hallmarks of a good coach is a good level of psychological literacy. So what I mean by that is just having an awareness of the most common and most the most widely used or most popular, prominent psychological models and approaches. I think with what we will be dealing with now with our clients, I think more than ever before, we need to commit to having that level of psychological literacy. And also we need to absolutely be aware of what we are dealing with in the room in front of us, because I've got I know people where, because they are now working from home, it's put pressure on their marriages, it's put pressure on their relationships with their kids. There are just all sorts of dynamics that are coming into play. People, a friend of mine who came into coaching last year has held herself back from coaching because she hasn't quite managed to carve out a comfortable office space in her home office, and thought that the coaching that she would be doing, she would always be going to her clients' offices. So they're funny little things that are holding us back and impacting on our mindset, on our positivity, on our productivity, and our ability to kind of be normal at the end of the day. So we are dealing with clients potentially who are going through the grieving process, which means that there is probably going to be a greater element of wellness mindset and or life coaching coming into, if we are business coaches, we're possibly going to be spending a greater amount of time on personal issues, and we need to be prepared and mature enough professionally to be able to handle that. I'd mentioned earlier that we too, many of us have suffered some kind of, yes, Elsie asked, what is normal? What indeed is normal and what is going to be normal? And I mentioned earlier too that many of us coaches have suffered some kind of a loss. I lost my mom. Alison lost her mom in December. I heard just the other day about someone, who lost a parent on Christmas, who lost her husband on Christmas Eve. I can think of nothing more awful, because the festive season is such an emotionally laden period of time that it just seems so much worse, if we lose somebody around the festive season. But all of us, those of us who have lost someone near and dear to us, friends, in fact, somebody else that I work with, she is part of a network of coaches, and one of the people in this group was they would go out and approach corporates and offer, a well-rounded program, and all of them would cover, different aspects of the program. And actually, the person who was the natural salesperson who took the role as the rainmaker for this group of coaches died from COVID. And so this group has now been left with, floundering. Who's going to take over that role? They, don't have the same kind of, they don't feel that they have the same kind of network and confidence and ability to go out and just, make rain. Sisanda says the familiar situation that we were used to before this new normal. Yeah, absolutely. Things have changed so significantly, and one of the other things that we need to be aware of for ourselves as coaches, but also as clients, is that we could be suffering low levels of post-traumatic stress disorder. So let me give you an example. When we go out in public, when we're not online shopping, okay, when we are actually physically having to go somewhere, perhaps to the doctors, take a child to the doctor, or meet someone for some reason, we are all kind of, masked up and everything. But there's always this underlying possibility in the back of our minds that we might get exposed somehow. And we don't realize it, but living under these conditions, I drive along the streets and I will see people walking on the side of the streets, and before I used to stop and offer people a lift quite often. Now, if I don't know who or what those people have been exposed to during the course of their working day. Even if they're wearing a mask, I think twice. In fact, I don't offer lifts anymore because I don't want the possibility of bringing germs into my own environment. We had family coming out from Cape Town over Christmas, which is a hotspot, and we were we had long discussions about whether or not we should all kind of just wear masks around each other. Now, this is being together, family members, for Christmas, where in the past, we would have been completely comfortable hugging and greeting and kissing each other hello. We are having to have these discussions about when you arrive, shall we all perhaps wear masks for the first day or so? That is, we don't take cognizance, I don't think, of this low underlying level of daily threat and fear that we are living with, and the development of PTSD. And so, Sisanda, it is so important what you are saying about self-care. prioritizing self-care on so many different levels, because we are dealing with something that we have never ever had to deal with before. On top of all of this, both coaches and clients are having to get to grips with managing new technology. It's stressful learning something new. It is stressful not feeling comfortable and accomplished and feeling like you're doing the wrong thing, all of these new technologies. And this company is using Microsoft Teams, this company is using Zoom, this company's using whatever, so you end up having to familiarize yourself just to deal with your clients with like 3 different ways of having online meetings, not to mention the fact that I don't know about you guys, but I'm so zoomed out. Sisanda says, I was infected with COVID while wearing a mask in July, and the person who she came into contact with also had a mask on. It is very, very, very frightening and extremely stressful. And, they're saying that wearing a mask, washing your hands, sanitizing on a regular basis is the best defense against it. But here, Sasanda was taking the proper defenses against it and still got infected. So awesome to have you with us. It must have been a very frightening period in your life. And I've heard from people who've worked with COVID patients or who've had COVID that there's this level of fear and complete uncertainty about am I going to be that one who doesn't make it. So it just is on so many levels affecting us. On the positive side, sorry, excuse me for having spent so much time on the negative side, we are truly living through a time in which coaching can come into its own like never before. You remember the catchphrase VUCA, so it stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And the fact that as we have moved into the 4th industrial revolution, and I think certainly COVID is going to be propelling us much faster into the 5th industrial revolution. But as we moved into the 4th industrial revolution, we were living in more and more of a VUCA world, a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. And this is where coaching truly comes into its own. This is where we are able to hold our clients and support our clients. But at the same time, our clients also living in this VUCA world are looking for results. They are looking for fast results. And that's why it's more and more important that we are able to clearly explain what results we deliver when we are working with our clients, and be able to just be really, really clear around what our process is, which is not what our clients are buying, incidentally, but what the results are that our clients will get as from working with us. And I've always spoken about over the years, traditionally, coaching research, and it has never changed, but there are 3 dominant ways in which people choose their coaches. And I use the mnemonic TRC, for Truth and Reconciliation Commission, just to make it easier for me to remember. But so the T stands for trustworthiness. Now, things that come into the trustworthiness factor are things like the fact that you have been around for a number of years. You have been coaching. You have a track record. Trustworthiness, other things that come into trustworthiness are the word of mouth referrals, and how many of us actually get our work through word of mouth referrals. The R stands for results. So being able to explain very clearly in our LinkedIn profiles, which is one of the top ways that clients actually go looking for coaches. So you do need to pay attention to and carefully craft your LinkedIn profile. But in crafting the introduction to your profile, you really need to be able to explain what results your clients will get from working with you, what outcomes they will get, how their lives will change or transform if they work with you, and transform for the better, even during the difficult times that we're going through. Finally, the C stands for chemistry, and there's been plenty of research on the fact that chemistry between the coach and the client is one of the single biggest success factors, critical success factors that decides on the success of the coaching relationship. So if you have got an uncomfortable feeling about your client in some way, be ethical and professional about it, and really consider referring them to somebody else that you think they might get along better with. It's not about rejecting a client. It's about truly serving them by saying that I don't think I'm the person that is going to give you the best results. I think you need someone who can X, Y, Z. And this is where that psychological literacy comes in, so that we can really, I think clients actually respect a coach who is able to say, I'm not just going to take every piece of business that comes my way. I'm going to work with the people that I know that I can work most effectively with, and be quite judicious about who you work with. And if you're new to coaching, you will start to learn over time what the flags are, and there's no reason even why you can't say to the person, maybe we bring this other coach in as part of our team, and because they will be able to work with you on X, Y, Z, because I have noticed. So that might be a slightly gentler way, and less of a way of perhaps chasing a client away or rejecting them. But I think have the self-awareness to know when you can really work well with a person, and when you don't think the chemistry is going to be right, because it's going to impact on the results that you deliver. It's going to impact on whether or not that person goes around saying, wow, Megan is the most fabulous coach that I have come across, and I cannot recommend her highly enough, versus, yeah, she's okay, she's okay, I wouldn't recommend her. Yeah, which would you prefer? Now, so also one of the trends that I think that one of the things that I think we coaches need to do, and I've touched on this a little bit earlier, is work on managing ourselves, managing our kind of emotional energy as well as our mental energy more than ever before, because of everything that we're having to deal with behind the scenes. We're also probably going to be being exposed to a lot more personal and emotive stuff with our clients, and we do need some time out from that so that we can decompress and gather ourselves and kind of support and rejuvenate our own levels of energy. So we need to be very self-aware. We need to manage ourselves and our energy more carefully than ever before. And another hallmark of the top coaches that I have worked with, that I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with, is that all of them journal. all of them have some kind of a reflective practice in which they watch and monitor their own state of mind on an ongoing basis, and how effective they are being and how they are feeling. And it's at this point that I do want to recommend that you consider getting into coach supervision, because it is extremely supportive for the coaches. It's one of the 3 pillars of coach supervision: supportive, formative, and normative. So the supportive part is around supporting you in your practice, helping you to become a better and better coach. The formative is around helping you deal with issues around building your coaching practice, becoming a more experienced coach, becoming a more agile and flexible coach. And the normative is obviously bringing ethical issues into the supervision session that might have come up in the course of a coaching session. I hope you're taking notes. I've got a lot for you today, and I do apologize. You know, there are, I spoke earlier about the predictions of the increase in value of the online learning industry. And I was looking at, in 2020, companies shifted companies before the figures companies were using online learning up to about 77% of their learning budget was being invested in some form of online learning. The shift in 2020 is companies report about 98% of their learning and development is being done in the online space. So it is just going to boom, and we have to get comfortable in this space whether we like it or not. It is going to be our reality, certainly for this year, and I predict for the next until 2024 at least and beyond. Companies are also reporting a higher spend on training, specifically on online training. So I'd like to encourage you all to consider somehow perhaps packaging your coaching with some kind of a process that you take your clients through, where maybe you don't do an online training course, but where you don't create an online training course, because I can tell you from personal experience it's quite a headache, and it's a process, and it takes quite a long time to put one together. But that at the very least you become quite explicit about when you work with your clients in this particular area, this is the process that you follow, and you know, this is where you take them from this point to this point, so that you can start to position yourself against online training courses. Companies also reported more and more instructor-led or coached online learning and group coaching. So, you know, maybe think of putting that into the mix. I don't know if you've been following me for a while. I use a business pyramid to map out your business and the various offerings that you're able to offer, and perhaps at your kind of entry level you could look at offering some kind of group coaching in a particular area or on a particular topic, and then you're mid-level maybe offer a 6-month coaching series, six session series of coaching sessions on a particular topic, or focusing, really honing in on something. And you might have a range of different topics that you could hone in on, and then your kind of, you know, VIP or top level offering would be you know, 12 session coaching package, or perhaps an online course combined with coaching. So look at, I want to encourage and advise you actually to really look at how you can package your offerings and what you have, how you can put them into something that people can very quickly understand. Because one of the biggest issues with selling coaching is, or traditionally has been, that we're selling an intangible. I mean, there are so many different definitions of coaching out there, and there's so many different models. I was speaking to somebody earlier today who is doing her master's thesis, and she was saying, and I agree with her, that there are people out there calling themselves coaches who are mentors, who are consultants, who really are not coaching in the traditional sense of what we accept and acknowledge as coaching. So we too need to, again, be a little bit flexible and adaptable, a little bit less precious about pure coaching, and look at how we can sell our offering as in some kind of a package. And I'm not encouraging you to discounts, but certainly to be able to give a tangible package that somebody can very quickly read through and say, oh, I get what this person offers. That sounds like exactly what I need. Our clients, being so uncertain and living in this VUCA world, they want solutions. And that's what we need to position ourselves as. And the one way of doing that is by getting really clear on what we offer our clients, how we work with them, and what they will get for their investment in us. I've touched a little bit on pressure on pricing in terms of what clients will be prepared to pay. And I think that this is just a natural outcome of the global economy and what is happening in companies, people, going on to half-time, only parts of their salaries, companies not earning the kinds of income that they used to be earning in the past. So that you may encounter pressure on your pricing, and I think it's entirely up to you to negotiate in the circumstance, to decide, is this the kind of client that I actually want to have on my CV? So would they be, if they're a large corporate, or one of the top 5 banks or whatever, it does give you a level of credibility. And are you prepared to sacrifice some of your coaching fee for the credibility that you would get from being able to publicly say that that was one of your clients? So, maybe take that into the mix around if you do get put under pressure with your pricing, but don't just give in willy-nilly. Remember that you have studied, you have, a specialist physician has studied for 15 years before they go out and start practicing. Many of us coaches, if we take our initial degrees or diploma or training, we add on all of the coaching courses and training and everything that we have done since then, put that all together, think about how many years you have actually spent studying and honing your skills. And don't allow somebody putting you under pressure to to lower your price. Don't allow them to speak to your inner critic or imposter syndrome. I really want you to take time to recognize the value that you offer and the amount of work, time, effort that you put into your professional practice. And it is worth money. It is worth something. I was reading a very interesting article by Professor David Clutterbuck, who was predicting trends for coaching in 2021. And one of the things that he said was that we are going to need to adapt our coaching approaches to become more and more systemic in our thinking and more systems thinking based in terms of how we deliver our coaching. So definitely be more aware of the greater ecosystem within which we are delivering our coaching and what is going on for our clients. Remember, I said that there are different pressures working from home. They're dealing with different dynamics and different pressures on top of their professional pressures and issues that you would normally be working, performance issues that you would normally be working with them on. And Alison says yes, love his work. He's just an amazing man, and certainly one of the doyens of the coaching and mentoring industries. But my husband and I were watching on TV the other day a program called Butterfly Effect, which is all around how just one isolated little incident here can have such an enormous impact and kind of mushroom out. Butterfly, if a butterfly flaps its wings, is the flapping of its wings felt elsewhere. And this particular one that we were watching was on the Ebola virus, and the fact that it started in Mongolia, spread via the Genoese traders to Europe, and for the next 4 centuries there were flare-ups of the Ebola virus in Europe up until the early 1800s. So I don't want to scare you, but with this coronavirus, we are dealing with an incredibly intelligent piece of, what is it, DNA, and it's already shown that it is able to adapt and metamorphosize. And I came across an article about some in Hunan province in China. There's some caves that have got bats in them that carry coronavirus, and any one bat can carry up to 200 different coronaviruses. So this is not the end of coronaviruses by any means. I mean, we've already had SARS was the first one, MERS, and now we've got COVID-19. We are going to see more and more and different versions of this coronavirus over the next coming decades and centuries. And so we really need to be responsive to this new way of working and this new way of being in the world, and also to supporting our clients in terms of how they are and have to be in the world. Professor Clutterbuck spoke about as coaches, we get stuck in certain paradigms. Like some of us learned the GROW model, and he actually specifically mentions the GROW model with regard to artificial intelligence programs that have come out now that are able to conduct quite effective coaching sessions based on the GROW model. These are robots. This is artificial intelligence. And he says in his article, if your coaching practice is based on using the GROW model, if that is where your development as a coach has kind of ended, you really need to get your game on and kind of wise up. He is also talking about the democratization of coaching and wanting to make coaching more widely available to people who traditionally have not been able to access coaching, which I think is a really nice movement. There's an organization called Reciprocoach, RECIPRO Coach, that you can sign up for. There is a fee involved. The nice thing about it is that a lot of the top coaches in the world are also members of Reciprocoach, and the way it works is you could ask to be coached by someone like Professor Clutterbuck, but in turn, and he will coach you for free, but in turn you need to give coaching hours back to somebody who asks to be coached by you specifically, because they want to work on the area that you are particularly good at. So that's quite an interesting kind of networking peer-to-peer networking opportunity for you. But yes, so Professor Clutterbuck is talking about bringing coaching to people who might not otherwise be able to access coaching. And I think certainly some of your coaching hours, it is good to give back and to do a certain amount of pro bono coaching, but be careful, limit yourself. So one of the top coaches that I work with, she does a lot of pro bono coaching, but she ensures that it is strictly within a, say, 10% of all of the coaching hours that she does in a year. She gives away pro bono, and she does not go over that. So she knows that she's giving back, but without kind of compromising her billable hours too much. Professor Clutterbuck spoke about the decolonization of coaching and how, and he's very right here, most of the coaching models are underpinned by psychological models that come from Western philosophy, psychology, and from the Western world. And we dismiss a lot of things as being woo-woo. So, I know, like manifestation and vision boards, as much as I loved Rhonda Byrne's The Secret at the time that it came out, it was something that I took, it was a long journey for me to kind of really get into the vision boarding thing. And now you can actually see my vision boards up on the wall behind me. They've had a few additions to them this year, but I like the ones that I'd done last year so much that they haven't changed so much. And I'm going to be talking next week on vision boards and various different approaches, like really exciting approaches to creating vision boards. I'm an absolute convert, I have to say. But there's a lot of stuff that we dismiss as being woo-woo, and there are a lot of coaches out there who undermine themselves by saying, well, I'm one of those woo-woo coaches because I use this, and this. But if we just look at things like heart rate variability, there's a company called HeartMath that is founded on using heart rate variability. And I mentioned at the beginning of this session that on my watch, I can actually see my heart rate at any one time. Sharon's here. Hello. It's lovely to see you. Happy New Year. And as I was counting down the seconds to starting this live, I could actually see my heart rate, rising and going up in anticipation. So my heart rate variability would have been, far more, wavy, whereas it, should have been, I should have been focusing on my breathing, activating, and there's been so much amazing research now that we know that breathing in certain ways activates your parasympathetic nervous system and the vagus nerve. So heart rate variability, which was once a fringe practice, is now becoming more and more mainstream and more part of the way that you can actually package things to work with your clients, to get your clients into the right frame of mind. You want, with all of the stress going on, you want to be able to bring things into the coaching session that can help the client just for that time decompress, leave it at the door, and really kind of get into this safe space with you in an effective way where all of the hemispheres of their brain are properly engaged so that they can do great quality work with you. Professor Clutterbuck also spoke about relevance and the issues that coaches focus on, and he foresees that coaching is going to become more and more of a vocation rather than a profession. So very much that people need to be called into coaching and into becoming coaching, that it must become your life's vocation and your passion. And I think that is also, that comes through in terms of the passion that we are able to with which we are able to market ourselves. Because when we really believe in what we are doing and the transformational work that we're doing, it's easy to talk about. It's easy to speak with enthusiasm, rather than if we're doing this as a way of earning the amount of money that we have said we need to earn. And we've looked at coaching, and we think executive coaching is a very, very lucrative industry to go into. Now, I just want to let you know that I'm on my way to, I'm winding down. I know I've thrown a huge amount of information at you, and I'm sure that a couple of you will be rewatching this just so that you can fill in your notes. But there's very much, I think there's very much a trend now for outcomes-led coaching. So in other words, companies are specifically looking for coaches who are saying, these are the outcomes that I can deliver. These are the areas where I excel at working with, and these are the results that I've spoken endlessly about results. These are the results that your employees will experience as a result of working with me. And he said again that clients are paying for the transformation. They're not paying for the what can I say, appreciative inquiry process that you might be taking them through this week, or the Nancy Klein thinking environment or thinking partnership that you do with them in the following week. They're paying for the transformation. They're paying for the outcomes. Niche coaching. You know, it's my area of absolute passion, and I could go on and on about it all day. But I came across a wonderful quote by a chap, Cy Blackburn, and he said, "It's true that most coaches can work with a wide range of people, problems, and challenges, but just because they can doesn't mean that they should." And we saw in the ICF global report on the coaching industry that came out towards the beginning of last year, that even the ICF is kind of saying coaches need to become more and more specialized. Companies are looking for coaches who specifically specialize in such and such an area. As coaches, though, some of the best things that we can do for ourselves is to embrace automation, to embrace delegation, and to embrace outsourcing. We too can't be all things to our businesses, as well as being Mamba effective coaches. And we really need to learn. It's my personal goal this year to start outsourcing more and more of the kind of admin stuff, and even my social media presence. I've started writing standard procedural standards, so that I can bring on a social media VA to handle a lot of the posting of certain stuff for me, and you can do it quite inexpensively. I mean, you can hire VAs from a website called Fiverr, Fiverr, for as little as 75 Rand an hour. Now, if you consider what a joy stealer doing your accounts and finances are every single month, and if you brought in a bookkeeping VA for 75 Rand an hour, and they took a couple of hours every single month, maybe 5 hours every month to do all of that for you, that would probably be half or even less than half of what you could earn in a coaching session. And you'd be able to do 5 coaching sessions during that same period of time. So we are shooting ourselves in the foot the longer we hold on to and are precious about, controlling every aspect of our businesses. And I do want you to put on your horizon, potentially looking at outsourcing some of the stuff that steals your joy when it comes to being an entrepreneur and running a business. You don't have to do it all yourself. Something else that I think is going to become more and more important for us as coaches this year is our networks and the ability specifically to mine those networks very, very carefully. Now, it is very easy. We know that if we go to a party, we will probably kind of cluster with people who we get along with, people like us. And this is one of the problems with coaches. What do? We go to coaching industry functions because we tell ourselves that there's going to be a really, really good speaker on a topic that we're really interested in hearing, and we don't want to miss it, fear of missing out, etc., etc., etc. And what happens there? All we do is we mix with other coaches. We don't expand our networks, even online. We attend coaching related online training, and we don't expand our networks. Now, I'm a big one for collaboration. Those of you who are members of this group, I urge you to please introduce yourself, tell us what it is that you do, because I always think that there are such amazing opportunities to say, Flip, I've just got this client who needs XYZ. I can't do all of that. I don't have the capacity, but I saw Elsie and Villy, for example, on in Megan's group, and I know that Villy does this and Elsie does this, and they would be the perfect fit for us to collaborate and really kind of bring tremendous value to this particular client. So collaborate, look, you're in a group, mind this group, get people in the group to know you, like you, and trust you, and want to work with you, collaborate with you. And another way of doing that is to actually join. There are companies out there that run coaching panels for corporates where they specialize in, the corporate will come to them and say, we need you to put in a coaching intervention for our C-suite executives. And they have got a whole panel of coaches that they then put forward, that the executives will meet with, have chemistry sessions with, and pick from these coaches who are suitable for that particular coaching intervention. It's just another alternative. You may not earn your full coaching fee, but it's an alternative source of income. And if we do nothing else, we've got to be creative and diversify. So I'm putting that out there as a suggestion for you. But one of my friends, she was very clever. Her industry that she had by default ended up coaching in, she coached a lot of companies in a particular sector, was badly affected by COVID. And so what she did was she looked at who those clients of hers, who they were dealing with, who they were selling to, who their suppliers were. And she then approached those clients and said, could you refer me to? Because you've worked with me, you know that I understand the dynamics of this sector, and I in turn will be able to understand the dynamics of your either your client sector or your supplier sector as well. So I thought that was quite a clever way of mining an existing network. I thought that was really, really incredibly clever. Finally, getting back to my favorite topic of niche, we know that confused clients say no. We know that our clients are under stress right now. It's even harder than under usual circumstances for them to make a decision. So we have got to make it as easy as we possibly can for them to say yes to working with us. And that means creating attention-getting, memorable, and emotionally engaging brands. Neuroscience tells us that those are the three factors that make for a strong, memorable brand, strong, profitable, and sustainable brand. And I have spoken about this in previous videos, which you can go back and watch. Secondly, neuroscience tells us that the brain doesn't like three things. It doesn't like clutter, it doesn't like messages that take too long to decode, and it doesn't like having to puzzle things out. So, number one, declutter your messaging. Get really, really, really clear on what it is that you do. Many of you will have heard me introduce myself. I always say I'm Megan Hudson. I'm a marketing and business coach specializing in helping coaches find and define your niche and to accelerate your marketing and sales. Sometimes I get a little bit more wordy and I tell you that I'm a dog-loving, tree-hugging marketing and business coach, just to put a little bit of humor into it. Be a little bit more emotionally engaging. So we know that those are the components of a successful and sustainable brands. And then in terms of decluttering your messaging, strip out everything that is unnecessary. And remember, people need to hear your message and what you do up to 21 times before it actually lands with them. 21 times. Repetition, repetition, repetition. When it comes to marketing yourself, there are two rules: consistency and repetition. If you stick to those two rules, you can't go wrong. So declutter your message, keep your messaging short, sharp, clear, and easy to understand. Break your messaging up. In the past we used to write long paragraphs. Now, the advice is, for best practice, that a paragraph shouldn't be longer than 30 words. That's like 2 sentences. Our clients haven't got great attention spans, and if you can't engage their attention within the first, I think it's 4 seconds of them coming across your profile, you've had it. Because with modern social media and everything, we have got shorter attention spans than goldfish, wouldn't you know it? And also, we want to make it as easy as possible for our clients to say yes to working with us. And that's why it is so important, I think, to find and define your niche and to be able to be really, really clear about what it is that you do, so that you can attract the right kind of clients and just have a really prosperous year, despite and in spite of everything that we're going through. So that's all I have for you for today. I hope it has been useful. I know it's been an absolute information bomb, and I apologize for that, but thank you for joining me. I can see that there's been quite a vibrant audience throughout, and I'm really, really thrilled to have shared this time with you and to have started your year off with you. So let's get coaching and have a wonderful and prosperous and healthy on many levels, healthy year. I wish you all everything of the best for 2021, and know that I'm here. You are welcome to reach out to me at any time on Facebook Messenger and just talk to me one-on-one about problems or issues that you can have. I'm here for you. I want to help you. I want to serve you. Thanks for being here. Take care, everyone. Ciao, ciao.